Oh, there we go.
Yay!
Hi, everyone. We're live. Well, hi, everyone, and welcome back to another live show. Today, we are going to be talking about The Space Between Worlds, which was our February pick.
Yes.
50-50. So we're really glad that you guys are joining us. And as per usual, with our live shows, we start with our non-spoilery thoughts and our ratings of the book, and then we get into all the spoilers after. So yeah. But before we get started, just a couple of announcements. The first announcement is a little bit more about the future of our book club. And from this month onward, we're going to be a bi-monthly book club. So we'll be having a live show every 2 months. So our next live show will be at the end of April.
April.
And I think it was just a decision that we made based on our schedules being kind of crazy, and it will give us more time and you guys more time to read the books. So we're excited about that change, and we'll be posting about it on our social media and everything too.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, Leanne's here. Hi, Leanne.
Hi.
Oh, hello. Hello.
I can show it. Yay.
Hey.
Hi.
And then our other announcement that we talked about this briefly in our last live show is that we are partnering with a company that makes book sleeves, Sangra, and they make a book sleeve inspired by the books that we're reading, which is really awesome. So they sent us me this one for the Midnight Library, and they also do bookmarks and other bookish goodies, and their stuff is just so pretty. We were all just like talking about this before we went live, but this is the bookmark that they sent us for last month. And of course, you guys can get them all on their website. So we'll link that in the description box. And there's a little promo code down there too, if you guys want to check all of that out. And then this is the book sleeve. Yeah. So we love working with them. They're a great company. So
and it does fit hardcovers in there.
Yeah.
Yes,
it has been tested. Yeah.
The darker shade of magic fits in there. I don't know. We're saying maybe not Diary of the Orange Tree.
No, that one's too big.
That's an exception. Yeah. It's very long.
All right. So do you guys want to go around and chat about do you want to do like our currently reading?
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I always forget about that. That's so true. Okay, yeah, sure.
Should I go first, or does someone want to go first? Okay,
yeah,
I'll go first. I don't have my book, and it's outside, and if I go out of this room, my cat will come in here, and that'll be chaos. But I'm reading The Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. And
great.
Wow. Amazing. Like,
Yay.
I'm only halfway through, but I think it's better than The Hate You Give, which I never thought I would say.
Oh, wow.
The Hate You Give was like unbelievable, but I absolutely love it.
Wow.
Basically like a prequel to The Hate You Give, so it's like set in the same neighborhood and everything with the same, but follows like the father figure, and it's amazing.
So cool.
It's lovely. Yeah.
Mary, do you want to go next?
Sure. I am. Okay, I don't have the books with me because I forgot we were doing this. But I am currently reading 2 books. One of them is I Captured the Castle by Dodie Smith. I just started it, really, so I don't have many thoughts on it, but it is a bit more of a modern classic, and I am excited to read it. And then the other one is The Return of the King by J.R. Tolkien.
Yay!
I'm finally, oh my gosh, I'm finally finishing The Lord of the Rings, and I am terrified, extremely excited, but extremely terrified at the same time. So,
oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, oh, me too. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, what about you?
Do you want to go, Hillary, or should I go?
You can go.
Okay. Well, I'm not currently reading anything, so...
Really?
Yeah, because I just finished The Space Between Worlds yesterday evening, and I am currently obsessed with watching The Legend of Korra, which is like the sequel to Avatar: The Last Airbender. So I haven't started any other book yet, But I'm planning on reading A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabbath here next, which I'm really, really excited about because I can't wait to see how the series ends. So, yay!
Wonderful. I see that Leanne commented, currently not reading anything, waiting for tomorrow to start a new book. That makes sense.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
New month, new books.
Any ideas for what book, Leanne? We'd like to know.
Let us know.
Yeah.
And my books just happened to be on my desk. Whoops. Those. I'm reading 2. I'm trying to finish them up before the end of the day so I can count them towards my February books. I don't have too much left in both of these, so that's good. I think chances are good I'll finish them. But
yay!
The first one is Twisted by Emma Deberry. The subtitle is The Tangled History of Black Hair Culture. And this is a nonfiction about Black hair culture, like the subtitle says. It's really interesting. I'm learning a ton. It's just very academically written. So the tone is like very just academic and it's dense text. So that's why I'm going a little bit slow with that one, but it's amazing. And I'm also finally getting to No Exit by Taylor Adams, which I've heard amazing things about.
Oh, yeah.
I just flew through the first 100 pages and I'm totally hooked on this. So I'm sure that I will finish this one before the end of the day. I'm really enjoying it. This is a thriller, like a kidnapping story, and it's so fast paced.
Wow.
Cool.
Exciting.
Wow. So many diverse reads we have.
Right? That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Amazing.
All right. So I forget, do we usually start with our like brief synopsis or our trigger warnings? I'm out of practice. I
mean, both, right?
Or kind of the same.
Yeah. Pretty much both.
All right, so I'm going to try and give like a brief spoiler-free like what this book is about and probably butcher it. So help me if I'm failing.
Okay,
we will.
But this is a science fiction book. It takes place in this universe where characters can travel between different worlds. And the main character is it Kara or Kara? I feel like I should know this.
Kara. I think.
Okay.
I say Kara.
That's how I would pronounce it, but I don't know.
And basically, the catch is you can only go to a world where yourself on that world is dead. So you can only time travel if that's the case. So she finds out that one of herselves in another world has mysteriously died. And so starts this like thriller, sci-fi, a little bit of a romance story kind of surrounding that. What do you guys have to add to like a general synopsis?
Kara is from a lower economic and social classification, I guess. Yeah. She works in a what's the name of the company? Eldridge, I think. Like that's the sponsoring company that provides all the technology for the traversing the worlds. But that is located in a really like high class of society, and she is from a lower class, so that plays a part in the story as well.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of like social conflicts that are explored in this story, and that's one of the things that I found really interesting. So yeah, it's definitely like also it's like about world traveling, but it's also about like class and all of those things. Race also plays a big role, and privilege. So yeah. Also, Leanne, read Six of Crows, please. So good. Read it.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Obviously. But to go back to the Space Between Worlds, I just had to. But yeah, I think that's pretty much what I would say for the synopsis as well.
Yeah,
I think that's good.
And then in terms of trigger warnings, so I would say violence, like domestic abuse. What else? I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff I'm forgetting.
I'm thinking.
Violence was the big one for me.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty
definitely
it can get graphic.
Classism,
racism,
I want to say
too.
Racism as well. Like mentions of like rape and sexual violence, I think.
Yeah, true.
If I remember correctly, overdose, drug use,
Yeah,
and I think that's pretty much it.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Maybe.
Is there a mention of suicide as well? I feel like there is.
Yeah, I
somewhere.
think so.
Like, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
so.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
So, do you guys want to go around and say your ratings and like your general thoughts about the book?
Yes, let's
Yes.
do it. Let's do it.
I guess I can go first. So I like just rated this book on Goodreads literally like 5 minutes ago because so I'm still a little bit. I'm sure my thoughts will come together more after the live show. But I listened to the book on audio, and I think that might not have been the best decision for me because given that this is a sci-fi and there's all these different worlds and characters and all of this, I found it hard to keep track of things, and like I was pretty confused like throughout parts of the story. I did think like overall I enjoyed the writing for the most part, and I felt like it was written in kind of a fast-paced like thriller type of way. So I appreciated that, and I thought it had a lot of interesting social commentary, as I'm sure we'll get into later in the live show. But I just had trouble like sinking into the book and being in that like page turning mode. I just felt like it was hard for me to get into it. So I ended up going with 3 stars. I don't know, it might change as I said throughout the live show, but that's what I'm sticking with for now.
Yeah.
All right, Mary, do you want to go ahead?
Sure. I mean, I also listened to the audiobook because I couldn't find a copy of the book anywhere for some reason. I also feel like it probably wasn't the best choice because I'm not usually a sci-fi reader or anything. It's not my type of book, I guess. So I did rate it 2 stars because I did feel it was a little below average for me. I'm sorry, I know.
No, it's just Sophia's face really made me laugh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's fine. It's okay.
Gosh.
Because I don't know, I had a hard time like keeping focused on the story and engaged by the characters. I didn't particularly care about any of them. And I did, like, obviously this has nothing to do with the book, but I kept comparing it with the 5th season by Micaiah Johnson, where I was very confused at the start, but then the ending was amazing and it all made sense. So I really had high hopes for this book, which is not fair. Obviously, it has nothing to do with that. But I did have that thought in my head, I guess. And I do think it tried to do so much at the same time that it ended up not developing any of it. It did have some good commentary, as I'm sure we will discuss later. But other than that, it really didn't do anything for me, unfortunately. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have kind of similar thoughts. I rated a book 3 stars because I didn't really know what to think of it when I first finished it. Like, I was really confused about my feelings. And the reason why that is, I think, it was hard for me to like pin down what didn't work for me with this book, and I think it was the pacing. Because the beginning is like so slow and nothing really happened until like the halfway point of the book, I found. And then at the end, everything wrapped up in like 2 chapters. And I was like, okay. Like, as I was almost done with the book, I was like, there's no way she's going to be like, there's no way this is just like a standalone. Like, there's got to be a second book. And then I was reading, and I knew it was supposed to be a standalone, but I just couldn't really believe it. And then I got to the end and I was like, oh, okay, so this just wrapped up like so fast. And yeah, that kind of disappointed me because I couldn't really get into the story at the beginning because I was really confused about certain aspects of the world, like the social system and everything. I even like DM'd Hillary because I was just like, I don't understand anything. I'm giving up. But I was also very tired, so I think that's probably why I shouldn't have started that at like 10 p.m., but it's fine. But yeah, I was just very confused, and the pace was like very slow. And it was more, I found, about the backstory of all of those characters rather than world traveling and the mystery of like why her other selves are dying, which was what really interested me in the first place in the book. I was just like, like she would world travel and we wouldn't get anything from it. Like she wouldn't like describe whatever she was doing over there. She would just be like, oh, I get into the pod and then, oh, I came back. Like we didn't even see like any of the other things that she did on the other worlds. For the most part, I mean, obviously we did a couple of times, but for the most part, it was just like, it wasn't really about the world traveling part of the story, I found, at the heart of the book, I mean. And I think maybe the synopsis was like a little bit misleading because of that. But yeah, like you said, Mary, I didn't really get that attached to the main characters. I was also really hoping for something more with their romance, and I was really sad because it was kind of like interesting and satisfying, but also I wanted more. So I was just a little bit disappointed with that. And I also feel like I was confused for the most part, but I also could guess what was going to happen. So like a couple of times I guessed like a couple of plot twists, or not necessarily like plot twists, but events that were going to happen. And I was just like, well, okay. So
yeah.
So yeah.
So are you settled on 3 stars, or are you still like unsure?
I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars because honestly, I don't know if it's the book or if it's just me. If I just wasn't like really in the mood to read that, or if if I had read it another time, maybe I would have enjoyed it more. I have no idea. I don't know what happened. So yeah, so far I'm giving it 3 stars. I also think that like there were a lot of very interesting conversations in the book. So yeah, surrounding like social issues and stuff like that, and power, and all of those topics. But overall, I was definitely let down. So yeah.
Man, yeah.
Oh god.
So, a lot of the same things for me, honestly. I thought that the writing was like 4-star level, but the story and the execution were 2-star. So I'm like average 3-star. I did like the writing. I thought that the social class commentary was so interesting, and the commentary about racism, and also like the way that clothing was used was interesting. Like that also signified social class. I just thought that was kind of
that was so cool.
I'm going to look at my notes because as I mentioned to all of these ladies before we went live, I took notes because this was just a complicated story. So I'm going to look at these really quickly. I felt early on in the book that there were way too many characters to keep track of, like, and characters had multiple different versions of their names. So that was doubly confusing.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought that the world building was really strong, but not necessarily a great pick for a book for beginner sci-fi people, which I think that we kind of all are. So at least that's so what I was thinking. Yeah, it was just like the world building was cool, but very complicated. So I wish that I had more experience with sci-fi before reading this book. But yeah, whatever. I also thought that, let me see, that the themes were interesting that kept coming up, not just social class and racism, but also the way that like a few different topics were just constantly reoccurring. And some that I picked up on were love, pain, death, religion, and science. I just thought that those were really interesting topics to weave into the story. So those were pretty cool. But ultimately, I did think that the plot took a lot of different directions, and I think that the story could have wrapped up at earlier parts in the book if they had just been a little bit more developed. But the story kept going. So yeah, this was really just like a confusing, middle of the road read for me.
Yeah, I agree. Leanne says she enjoyed the book, read it quickly, like the idea of the book and the traveling between universes, but something was missing. Yeah. I agree. Like, when I read the synopsis, I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so fun. Like, I never read sci-fi, but this is gonna be a great place to start because I love thrillers, and it sounded like a combo between them. But yeah, it 100% felt to me like it just didn't like quite come together.
Yeah. I was just looking at the cover while you were speaking, Hillary, and I was also listening to you, by the way.
I believe you. Okay.
Like, whatever. But yeah, and it's such a good cover. Like I just have to
It
say,
is, yeah.
like
Mhm.
the cover gets half a star from me. Like just because of how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it
good.
is.
So
Yeah.
cool. I
Mhm.
didn't really look at it very closely while I was reading, but dang,
Mhm.
this is so cool. It's so pretty.
It
Okay.
is.
Yeah, the cover is, yeah.
I love the
Yeah,
way
it's
that
stunning.
the city and oh, what is that town? Ashtown, was it? So
Ashtown.
Ashtown
Yeah.
is the lower social class
Yeah.
area, and Wiley
Yeah.
is the city. And I really
Yeah.
like how those are depicted here.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're like
that's very clear.
here
Mhm.
is Ashtown, and then down here is like the city, and it's just so cool.
Oh.
And we have like
Yeah.
the two characters, like Dell and Kara, and it's
That's
so
really
nice.
cool.
Anyway,
Yeah, a nice contrast. Yeah.
yeah, really.
I
Yeah.
couldn't like see all the details of the cover from because I listened to it on Audible. You can't like
Yeah, me
add
too.
blown up, so it's hard to like tell what's on there. But
No,
Yeah.
for sure.
that's awesome.
True. All
All
right.
right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Any
Leanne
other
has a
like
different
sorry.
cover. Sorry, I'm just seeing her comment.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Oh yeah, that's
I don't know what that
cool.
one is.
I saw a different cover, like with her face on it, and it's like pink and
Oh.
white. I don't know if that's the one,
Oh,
but it's pretty
Oh,
too.
yeah, that
oh, now I
rings a
want to
bell.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
it is pretty. I don't think it says a lot about the book, but it is a pretty cover, I think.
Oh yeah. Okay, so Leanne had posted about it on her Instagram, so that's what it is.
Yeah, that's the one, exactly.
Oh
That is
yeah,
really
yeah.
pretty,
Okay,
actually.
I have seen that one.
Interesting.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Huh.
I think I
It
prefer
is.
that one though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says more about the plot, I feel like.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
All right.
So-
Any other like non-spoilery things that you wanted to chat about, or are you ready for spoilers?
I think good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
All right. Sounds good. All right, so we're going to move into the spoiler discussion. So, if you haven't read the book and you are planning to read the book, then bye for now. We will see you. See you sometime soon.
Yeah.
All right. So, I don't even know where to start. I feel like there's
Me
a lot
neither.
of us.
Yeah.
I guess like what were your, because I know we all have like some mixed feelings, and I think Hillary, you kind of touched on this when you were talking about like things that stood out to you, but like what part of the book did you guys enjoy, or what did you think was done well? I think for me, like for the most part, I agree that I thought the writing was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that the story like held up to that, like as you were saying, Hillary,
Mhm.
because I felt like very disconnected from it a lot of the time. But the writing, like for a debut book, I thought that was it was decent writing.
Is that a debut?
I believe it is.
I don't know.
I think.
I thought it was too.
I'm not sure.
Let's see.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes, it is. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. Okay. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
But yes, as you were.
Yeah, I enjoyed. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think the writing was a strength for me, and the romance, although I do have a lot of issues with like the romance and like the number of miscommunication moments and like how drawn out it was, and it made me really frustrated sometimes. Like I wanted,
Yeah.
Same.
I liked that was in there. I think it added something to it.
Mhm.
I agree about the romance. If I can talk about it for a little bit, I really love their banter, but I feel like we didn't really get like their history, because obviously they've been working together like super closely for 6 years. So, you know, there's supposed to be like a sense of history between them and all of that. And I feel like I couldn't really feel the connection that there was there, or like the not really like the connection, because they, like you said, there's so much miscommunication that they don't have a connection, because they both think that the other hates them. But like I didn't really feel like we could, you know, feel that between the characters. I felt like there was something missing for me, and I feel like everything wrapped up like so fast at the end. Like in the 2 last chapters, we get the resolution of the main conflict of the book, of the main like action plot, and then also the resolution of the romance, and like what, I think 30 pages or something.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay. Like everything happened so fast, and I don't know, like I really wanted to love them because they had such great banter, and I feel like their relationship could have been like so interesting to read about and so fun. But because I don't know, like there was something missing for me, and I was so sad about it. And I also guessed pretty early on that like the Kara that Kara replaced in the world had said something to Dell, and that's why Dell was like hating her. And so when that was revealed, I was just like, obviously, like
yeah, that was so predictable.
yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, not from the beginning, like I couldn't tell from the beginning, but at some point I was just like, okay, she's constantly saving your ass. She's constantly like helping you with everything. Like obviously there's more history there than we know, and so I kind of guessed that like the other Kara had done something wrong, and instead of just like talking about it, they just kept on thinking that the other hated them. So that was a little bit frustrating for sure.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I hated the most, honestly, on this book. I thought because I think it is too obvious. Like we have different worlds, so obviously we have different personalities for the same character, I guess. So obviously, a few of them will try to trick the other ones. That's the obvious solution. So I could basically predict almost everything, and it was so frustrating, honestly, especially because it did introduce a lot of interesting themes, I think, and a lot of the relationships could have been so good. I wanted to know more about her sister as well.
Yeah.
Was it Esther, I think?
Esther,
yeah. Like I wanted to know more about the two of them, like what happened, but we didn't get any of that, and it was just so predictable. So yeah, I agree on that, and it was one of my least favorite parts.
I love though, and that I didn't see coming, that Esther knew from the beginning that it wasn't the same Kara. Like that I really enjoyed.
See, because it's special. Like it says a lot about that says a lot about their relationship, I feel like. So
and then they, like the relationship that they had together, with like the actual Kara, like the not her sister who is dead, but like Kara, the main character. It's so confusing. Anyway, like the relationship that they had, I think was super special and really great. So yeah, I like that. I love that like Esther just went with it. She was like, oh, okay, I have a new sister now. It's all right. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
Also, can we talk about the characters' names? Like, she's named Carolee, the girl is named Dell, and then the bad guy is called Nick Nick. What is that? What is that? I couldn't take them seriously. Like their names were Nick Nick and Mr. Cheeks. Are you kidding me? I don't understand. I don't understand because maybe the other names are just so realistic.
I know, like, and then you have Daniel and Michael, right? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. And I think Mr. Cheeks was a nickname. I think maybe I have no idea. But honestly, like every single time he was mentioned, and he's supposed to be like this very, dangerous individual, and he's like Mr. Cheeks. I just could think of like a chipmunk or something. Like it didn't.
Yeah,
I really couldn't take them seriously because of that. It was anyway, it just made me laugh.
Yeah,
but yeah,
Nick Nick's name. I couldn't. It was too much.
Yeah, me neither. I couldn't. No. No. Also, did any of you guess that they were brothers?
No, I don't think so.
And I don't think that twist like landed very well because that came up and I'm like, oh.
I was like, yes, so
okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting, but I feel like definitely there could have been more done with it.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Sophia? Sorry.
I felt like this book needed like more plot twists throughout because like everything happened at the end, and then you'd have these like random like plot twists, but that they weren't super consequential, like the brother thing. I'm trying to think of other like things in the middle that seemed like they were supposed to be surprising, but like didn't really keep the story going that much. But yeah, I thought a lot of the action happened at the end, and it would have been better if more was happening throughout.
Yeah, the pacing was really off for me. That's one of the reasons. Like, I had a lot of trouble getting through the book because of that.
Yeah, me too. Definitely.
Yeah. It was really, really strange.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, I don't know, like, Sarah, have you read other sci-fi books? I know Mary and Hillary, I don't think you guys read a lot of sci-fi.
Just a few.
I also don't read a lot of sci-fi. Like, one of my favorite books of all time is Station 11, but it's not really sci-fi. It's more like of a dystopian. I mean, I have read The Bone Season, which is kind of like fantasy sci-fi. I have read The Savage Song by V. Schwab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking at my shelves and trying to like figure out what I've read.
I haven't heard of The Savage Song. Is that sci-fi?
It's good. Yeah, it's kind of a sci-fi. Yeah, it's well. Is it? I'm not sure anymore. But I think maybe you could consider it sci-fi. Same thing with like Vicious. I feel like you could consider Vicious as sci-fi. But yeah, no, I don't read a lot of sci-fi. I read mainly fantasy.
Because I was wondering, like, I don't know with like other books in the sci-fi genre, I feel like a lot of them have a lot of like world building that you have to do to make the reader believe like that this could possibly happen.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I kind of felt like a lot of the beginning part of the book was slow because there was so much to introduce. But I don't know. I think then even though when we were like introduced to the world, it was still slow. So I don't know if it was just that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like I can handle like a slow beginning with a lot of world building if it's like interwoven with like different, action or character development or different like events or suspense or whatever. But I feel like this one, I don't know why exactly, but I didn't feel like fascinated enough. And I don't know, when I was reading it, I didn't know if it was like the writing style or if it was just, like I said, the pacing. I don't know, but I couldn't really focus. I couldn't really get into it. So I don't know. And that's like important when you're reading fantasy or sci-fi. Like if you can't get into it, it's over. Like
I agree. I think it's because the book lacked focus a little bit. That's why I kept thinking about the 5th season by Micaiah Johnson, which I loved. And at first, like the beginning of that book is also a little slow because it is introducing you to the world and the characters, and it doesn't make a lot of sense at first. But then she gives you little clues throughout the book, explaining you the plot. And it all makes sense in the end. And all the reveals are amazing because they all are connected. You just didn't see it at first. And with this one, I feel like she tried to introduce us to a lot of different elements that then either didn't become relevant or were too rushed suddenly. So I think it needed a bit more focus, I think. Maybe.
Because I feel like it was trying to be a mystery, a social commentary, a romance, and that can be so cool when it's done well. Like when you can, like work on so many different things at the same time. But I feel like this one, also because it's so short, I feel like we didn't have enough time to like explore all of those topics, and it just wasn't really balanced as well as I wanted it to. Like I went into this really thinking that it was going to be way more of like an adventure or like a mystery, and that she was going to go like through different worlds trying to figure out why her other selves are dying. And then it really wasn't that. It was more about like things that happened in the past and stuff. So yeah, it was just I don't know.
I agree.
What did you guys think about the social commentary? Do you feel like it was too do you think it was done well? Do you think it was too like obvious and trying to be like too much of the plot? I don't know. I felt like I thought for the most part that it was done pretty well, at least for me. I think like the Ashland and I can't remember the name.
Wiley
City.
Ashtown, yeah.
I think that that dichotomy like really landed well for me because even though it's like a sci-fi world, I see like so much of that in society today, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
Really effective, but I'm not sure about like all the other. I'm sure there were a lot of like social commentary things that I didn't even pick up on, but
Yeah. There was a line, I think, where she said they were talking about the wall that's around Wiley City.
Yeah.
And one of the characters, I think like an Ashtowner, I don't remember who it was, but they basically said like, yeah, they made the poor people build a wall to keep the rich people in.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this the United States?
I know.
Oh my
Like,
god. Yeah.
yeah.
Gosh.
you know, like this is obviously a theme that comes back a lot of times in history. It's not only like,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know, the United States, but I mean,
Yeah.
it definitely is like a recurring theme, and I really like that about it. I thought it was well
Sad, but
done.
it's true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Also, like you said, oh no, go for it.
I wish that it was integrated a little bit more throughout the book. I feel like it was sort of bookending what happened in the first part of the book and the last part, but in the middle, when there was all the world traversing, I didn't see that social commentary come through so much, and I was really looking for it. So it kind of fell a little bit flat in the middle, but overall, I liked how it was done in the beginning and end.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I feel like also sometimes different elements made me lose track of that. Like all of the different things with like the religion and the runners. Also, like the runners, I wasn't sure if I understood the history of that well. Like the different wars and the emperor, and also like Kara's sister was a princess, but she wasn't related to the emperor, so she was the princess of what? Like it was kind of confusing, like how everything was organized socially. I feel like, you know, like in Wiley City, it was like from the bottom to the top, obviously, like with the buildings and everything, which was also really cool. Like the entire like construction of this entire city, I thought was so cool. It's like by floors instead of different like spaces. I really like that. But yeah, like the social system was confusing for me. Like I understood the most important parts, which was that like Wiley City is rich and Ashdown is not, but like all of the different little differences I didn't get. Also, Leanne said,
I was just gonna put
I didn't understand that either. That really confused me too. I was like, what? I knew that was like her job, but I was like, what's the point? Like, why are they doing that? I don't know.
Maybe to keep track of their personalities. I'm not sure. I also didn't get that, but I thought it was because of the audiobook. Maybe I missed something. I don't know. But yeah, I also thought it was a bit confusing.
They were like getting information on the other worlds, maybe to make sure that like other worlds couldn't world traverse like they did. But that's like completely a theory. I have no idea. Like I don't remember anything explaining why they were doing that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a big chunk of information because that's literally her job. It's the job of the main character. So the fact that we don't know really says something. Either we skip that part or
I don't
wasn't clear. I don't know.
I don't remember. I definitely felt like in the audiobook, like I would lose focus for maybe like
me too.
I don't know, like a page or so in the real book, and I felt like I was like completely lost, and I had to go over.
At the beginning, I really had to go back and reread a couple of paragraphs because I was just like, okay, I don't understand this. I don't know what that is. What's this? I don't understand. Like I really had to go back and try to like, with the context, try to figure out like what was going on. And I feel like that's common in like sci-fi or fantasy. That happens a lot, but also it gets explained more, and like the relevant things come back again and again so that you can, you know, remember them. But I didn't really feel like all of my questions were answered with this one.
Same.
And I was just like, am I just dumb, or or like what's going on?
I think
like
you're all confused.
I want like a prequel. I want like a novella prequel to this book.
That's true. That's true.
To give us like
I want to know more about Jean.
Yeah.
Same.
He was such an interesting character.
Yeah.
Yeah. He can get his own like side plot, side
Who
story.
knows?
Yes. And also that's another thing that I guess, like I was just like, don't go to the authorities. They're going to turn that against you. And obviously she did, and obviously they did. And then what happened? They killed someone she cared about. Because
Yeah.
obviously that's what happens.
See,
when you
that's what I mean. Like
Oh,
everything was
I was
so
like-
obvious. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I mean. Yeah, I
And
do
I mean,
like
it
how the
doesn't-
book. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Okay,
Go
I
ahead,
was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say it doesn't make it less tragic, obviously, but also
Yeah, sure.
as a reader, that's not necessarily what you want because it wasn't shocking. We all knew it was gonna happen,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I agree.
Who?
And it's-
Oh, I'm
Mhm.
sorry.
No, go ahead, Hillary.
No, no, it sounded like you were.
I was gonna change the
wondering.
subject completely. So go ahead.
All right. My question is, who thinks that Kara made a good protagonist? Because I didn't think she was a really
I don't
good
think
one.
so. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think so.
I don't know.
Um,
I thought she was interesting. I don't think she's supposed to be like reliable or likable.
Mm.
But I kind of like her. Like she's not my favorite protagonist ever, but yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't think she needed to be likable, but she needed to be engaging. You know, she needed to have a clear purpose, maybe, so you could at least understand her and be interested in what she's doing, even if you didn't like her. And that unfortunately didn't happen with me. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
exactly the same way. I just really had trouble engaging with her and
Yeah.
the different versions of her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It was tricky. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if we had maybe like more perspectives would have been nice. Like if we had like, for example, Dell's perspective too, as
Yeah.
well as Kara's, maybe that would have been cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Maybe.
think that would have added something. I think it would have been hard though because like of the different you would have had two perspectives, all these different worlds, and then like different names for everyone, and like like it's a lot to go through. But I agree that sometimes
True.
like I liked parts of Kara's personality. She was kind of spunky. I appreciated that, but I don't know. She's not like my favorite protagonist and not my least favorite. I think she like falls somewhere in the middle for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
She kind of reminded me of Lila Bard from A Dark Shade of Magic.
I wouldn't know.
love
So
Lila
Yeah,
Bard,
I don't-
though. Lila's like she's so morally gray. Like can be terrible sometimes, but I love her.
Yeah, Lila has more. She has like more snark than Kara too.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's just V. Schwab's writing as well. So
Anyways.
Anyways, but yeah, what were you going to say, Mary? That was going to change the subject.
yeah, I was gonna say that I liked how the book started when she was comparing like the scientists versus spiritualism and religion and everything.
That I really liked.
Yeah, I loved that start, and I thought she was going to explore that so much more. And I was so sad that she didn't, because it is such an interesting thing to think about, like to defy our beliefs, I guess, especially when it comes to different lives and parallel worlds and everything. I think it could have been so interesting, but then I don't know. I don't think it was that relevant.
Well, at the beginning of like each different part, there was like a little paragraph about it, and I always really liked that too. Like,
exactly.
Those were always like some of the parts that I was like, ooh.
Yeah, me too.
Mysterious. But yeah, I agree that it could have been explored more. Yeah, definitely.
I really liked, there was like a quote, like the very first quote on the very first page. I forget who it was by, but I really liked it.
Wait.
It's going to take me a minute.
Oh boy, okay, it's a long one.
It was like at the end, it was like, and now they're like getting to the end of it. I forgot what it was. It was about like somebody potentially in like another universe, like reading this book, like
the
sentences you are. And I think like that was really engaging as a reader because it set the tone for what like the theme of it's going to be.
It's like in some, your doppelganger is now reading this sentence along with you. In others, he or she has skipped ahead or feels in need of a snack and has put the book down.
Yeah.
And then and then the last line is, in others, he or she has, well, a less than felicitous disposition and is someone you'd rather not meet in a dark alley. And it's by Brian Greene.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was good. It's a good quote to have at the beginning of this book. Because it definitely works. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
you don't want to be stuck in a dark alley with any of them.
Right.
Especially Nick.
Yeah, Nick. No matter how ridiculous his name is.
Did you guys have a favorite part to the book or like a scene that you liked the most?
I think probably when Dell finally was just like, well, it's because you were awful to me. And I was just like, oh, finally. They can develop their relationship. And then they didn't. But anyway. Yeah, I like that because then everything started to make more sense. I think. I guess.
For me, I'm not really sure why, but I really liked when Jean was killed. But it was because you got to see more of Kara's character coming out, and I think that she became more relatable in that moment, just seeing someone she cared about get, tortured and eventually killed.
Yeah, that's true.
That just evoked a lot of emotions, I thought, so that's a standout scene for me.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I also really loved when Kara was like, oh yeah, by the way, the drops that you're putting in your eyes are poison.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good. That was a good part. I was like, yay!
But again, too quick. Like I wanted that scene to go on. Like I wanted that reveal and all of that to like go on for longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Hillary. I think that scene with Jean was one of my favorites because it made her feel more like a person and like us able to connect to her more as like a protagonist.
Yeah.
True.
Part of in my notes, I had written like it's page 200, and I still don't know. Like I still don't feel like I know who Kara even is.
Yeah.
So in that moment, it was just like some nice clarity that I was looking for.
Yeah.
That's true.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, she was a little bit two-dimensional.
She was,
I think.
Ironically, considering all the different dimensions. I don't know.
Good one.
Sorry.
So it's very
I'm
true,
gonna
but it's
apologize.
true.
I love that. Yeah. Amazing.
So yeah, for sure.
I know, Mary, you were saying that this reminded you of the 5th season. Are there any other books that this like reminded you of, or you think would be a good?
I'm not sure because I'm not a big sci-fi reader at all. So that's the first one that came to mind because I remember also that feeling of being a little lost, especially at the beginning. I was very lost in the world because I didn't understand anything, but that was on purpose, because as the book went along, you got little clues about both the world and the characters. So I remember that feeling, and that's why I'm comparing both of them. But other than that, I'm truly not the best person to say because it's not really my genre. I read a lot of fantasy with a few sci-fi elements, I guess.
Yeah.
But nothing like this one, I don't think. So maybe Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, but I don't think it's similar. I haven't read it, so I wouldn't know. But
yeah, that one is more like space
exactly.
battles and stuff like that. I think I haven't read it either, but from what I've heard,
I don't think they're similar. I don't know. What about you? Have you read anything like this one at all?
Not sci-fi. I was thinking like the different worlds, it kind of remind me of Darker Shade of Magic because there's these different versions, and like you travel throughout them. But obviously, it's a totally different genre. But it reminded me of that a little bit.
Yeah.
For me, this kind of felt like a combination of the movie Inception and 1984.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, that's a good one. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, 1984. You're right. Yeah, you're
Yes,
right.
that's a good one. I love both of
Absolutely.
them. Yes.
Just like the
I don't know.
confusing aspects of Inception and like the different traveling and stuff like that. But
It's
then
so good though.
yeah, I mean that one, you know,
So
as
good.
confusing as I thought it was, I could still get into it
Yeah.
and like kind of understand it. Whereas this one was just like a little bit too much. But for 1984, I felt like the Emperor vibe and like Nick and who was the other person? Adam Bosch.
Yeah, Adam
Oh,
Bosch.
Yeah, like whatever power those characters had, it seemed like they were controlling everything around them, and that's kind of the same kind of vibe that I felt when I was reading 1984.
There was
Yeah.
also like a lot of control of the information, so that definitely
Yeah,
that definitely
true.
brings us back to 1984 as well.
Yeah,
Good point.
true, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We only have about 10 minutes left. So are there other things that we haven't touched on that you guys wanted to chat about before we talk about like next month's book?
Oh yeah.
Anything else major? I don't know. I feel like I don't even remember half of the plot.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm all
man.
set.
Hillary's
So-
Yeah. This was a good discussion, though. I mean,
Yeah, I think
like
so
what we talked
too.
about. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, also, Hillary, I love that you mentioned the clothing, because I think that was like such an interesting part of it too, like
Yeah.
how the Wiley City people were more like white and paler colors, and then in Ashtown, obviously, because it's like, I don't know, all
Yeah.
dirty. They wear like they can't wear like pale colors and stuff like that. So, yeah, I really like that, and that's how you can like differentiate them.
Mhm.
That I
Yeah.
really enjoyed.
I liked that was included also because that was a really easy way to let the reader like remember the distinction in the social classes. And I think that we did
True.
need that very plain language and like a plain metaphor that was just really easy to understand, because everything else was so complex that like just laying out some really plain stuff went a long way.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing that makes me think about 1984. Now that we've mentioned it, is the maintenance department being like the people who cover everything that Adam Bosch is doing, basically. Like they're maintenance, but they're they're really like just doing stuff so that nobody guesses what's really going on. Yeah, that's interesting as well.
Yeah,
And
I'm
like
glad you brought that up.
and how he was gonna try to like have lots of people being killed by sending them into different worlds where they were still alive. He was like trying to like destroy his competition or whatever. Like I didn't completely get that, but like I felt like that was interesting.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So
Shall we talk about our next book?
I guess
think
so.
so.
Yeah.
I can't remember who picked this book. I can't remember. Was it me? I don't think it was.
I thought it was you.
I don't know.
I don't remember who it was.
I don't think it was me.
I don't think it was
Maybe
me.
it
Or was
was
Sarah?
me who suggested it. I have no idea.
I have no idea.
I
either.
think we had thrown around a few different options, but I don't know how we landed on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither, but it sounds great.
Exactly.
All right. So for March and April, we're going to be reading The Memory Police.
Yes.
By Yoka Agawa. Is that how you say it, the last name?
Yeah,
I think
Yoko
so.
Ogawa, I think so, yeah.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't actually know anything about this. So you guys know what this is about? Would you want me to read the Goodreads?
Yeah.
I
Maybe.
feel like I know like basic facts.
Okay, go for it.
I think maybe you can complete with the Goodreads summary, but basically I think it's about this place where there's a memory police. So basically people that like memories of different people get stolen. So one day, like, they will remember about an object, and then their memory will get stolen, so they don't know what this object is anymore. But then I don't really remember what like our main character is doing in there. So maybe you want to like jump in with the synopsis, because I don't remember more.
I think this is going to be this is going to be a good transition from what we just read, because the first sentence of the Goodreads says, a haunting Orwellian novel about the terrors of state surveillance from the acclaimed author of The Housekeeper and the Professor on an Untamed Island. I'm not sure. I haven't heard of the other books. Sorry, I can't read and talk at the same time. On an untamed island off an unnamed coast, objects are disappearing. First hats, then ribbons, birds, roses, until things become much more serious. Most of the island's inhabitants are oblivious to these changes, while those few imbued with the power to recall the lost objects live in fear of the draconian memory police, who are committed to ensuring that what has disappeared remains forgotten. When a young woman who is struggling to maintain her career as a novelist discovers that her editor is in danger from the memory police, she concocts a plan to hide him from beneath her floorboards. As fear and loss close in around them, they cling to their writing as a last way of preserving the past. A surreal, provocative fable about the memory of power and the trauma of loss. The memory police is a stunning new work. Blah, blah, blah. Just talking more about the author.
Oh, and I also want to mention, I think this was first written in Japanese, right?
Oh,
because this is a translated work.
Awesome.
Oh,
Nice. Before.
Yeah.
I don't think we've read any translations yet. Have we?
I don't
Yeah,
think so. Unless I'm forgetting one.
I don't think we have.
I also don't think
I don't
so.
think so. Wow.
I'm excited.
Well, that's great. I'm happy
Yeah.
we're reading some translated work.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, it sounds great. Obviously, about state surveillance, like you said, Sophia. So more sci-fi for all
Yeah,
of
it
us.
sounds like
sci-fi
a
movies.
yeah, exactly.
So that's great. And it sounds good also with like the fact that the main character is a novelist and everything. Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it does.
I'm
sound cool.
excited.
Yeah, me too.
So as we said
Yay.
earlier, we're going to be doing our live shows now every other month. So you'll have 2 months to read this book and think about it and have lots of time to read it. So we will announce the date of our live show probably maybe like beginning of probably like in a month or so, because we'll figure out our schedules as we kind of go through the month.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're excited to read it with you all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any last minute thoughts or anything?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the live show. Thank you for tuning in. And we will see you very soon with another live show.
Yes.
And bye for now.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
thanks so much for
everybody.
commenting, Leanne.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here.